So thank you everyone for joining us. We are here. I'm here as part of Plan, just to help with technical issues and anything. But please reach out to me if you have any questions about upcoming trainings. I'm still working on planning stuff for November, but we've already got some open-ended resources, and we have another training tomorrow as well. So yeah, I hope you guys can join us for those too. This one is planning successful homeschool programs. All of our trainings are funded through a grant from the Texas State Library and Archives Commission. So we're very grateful for that generous support. But yeah, if you want to move to the next slide, I'll introduce y'all. Okay, so this is Diane and Carmen. They're both working at the Pflugerville Public Library. Diane's been working as a youth services librarian, and Carmen works with the children's community programs as the children's community programs administrator. And both of them have a lot that they do with homeschooling and building up a really good homeschooling program. So I'm excited to see the training, and I'll turn it over to you two.
All right. It's you, Diane. Oh, I need to switch.
Yep. All right. So good morning, everyone. Just a brief little bit about Pflugerville. We are in the Austin area, so that's Central Texas. If you know Austin, Round Rock, those are our neighbors, Manor. We have one main library. We don't have any branches yet, but we serve a very diverse and growing population. We have, I think, when they did a survey a few years ago, there's over 80 different languages spoken in our public school system. And so we try and serve a wide variety of families, and including the growing homeschool market. So next slide, Carmen.
Oh, yeah. I just noticed a little red dot on this screen. That's where we are located. For homeschool, we have, for homeschool programs, we have available a homeschool group that we call it a homeschool group, but the kids, Diane is going to elaborate on that. We do field trips to the Heritage House Museum. In the past, we did a field trip to the water plant, and that was a royal mess. So we don't do that one anymore. We organize special events, which is probably very social, but then it's also going to talk about it. And then we put together a homeschool resource fair, which I personally am very proud of it. I think it was super successful. Yeah, last year was my first year planning it, and I am super pleased with the results. Diane?
So we run our homeschool groups from September through May, basically the school year program. And we divide it into 3 different age groups. In each, Carmen, Melissa, who does teens, and I split them up. And you might notice that there's some overlap between kids and tweens and teens. So the 8-year-olds and the 12-year-olds kind of get to decide which group they want to go to. That being said, we don't really card anybody at the door. But, you know, you can kind of tell if an 8-year-old's trying to get into a teen program. It's not necessarily something that they'd be interested in or they might have the skills for. And that's kind of why we break it down a little bit. In our library, kids 8 and under are required to have an adult with them attending the program. And sometimes that means younger siblings come in, and that's fine. We're okay with that. We just don't always have materials for them. We guarantee that the kids at the, excuse me, the youth that the programs are geared toward, we will have materials and supplies for them. If there's extra, oftentimes we'll let the younger siblings participate, or older siblings sometimes. Let me see.
Tell me next slide when you're ready.
I think we're ready for the next one. So our homeschool programs, our groups during the year are kind of a mixture of arts and crafts, games, STEM activities, and for kids and teens, we have a book club. Tweens have some other things that they do. And what I did as far as programming, and I kind of learned this from Carmen, she sort of does the same thing, is we sort of pick our categories, like those are my 4, well, I'd change out games to like special events maybe, but I'd sort of rotate through them. As I'm planning out the year, I'll kind of get all of our homeschool dates on one page and just sort of go, okay, we're starting with crafts, games, STEM, book club, crafts, games, STEM, book club. And then I might tweak it a little bit if there's a holiday or if for some reason I'm unable to do the program and somebody has to cover for me, I might switch something out. You could also say, okay, the first week of the month is always going to be a craft week. The second week's always going to be a game week, third STEM, fourth book club, or whatever. And if for some reason you don't have the program that week, you just miss it that month. There's lots of ways to do planning. As far as the kids' book club, it's not something that requires a great deal of planning or in-depth preparation. I run it like I do my kids' book club. We have 10 copies of the book available. First 10 families get a copy. We might read the whole book, or we might read just part of it, and then we'll do an activity with it. It might be, like if the book's about space, maybe then we'll get out Legos and they build a space station. Or we did Rapunzel versus Frankenstein, a graphic novel. We read part of it, and then we made pipe cleaner people to go with it. Our programs are usually 45 minutes long, if that gives you an idea. And again, with the kids, the parents are there and often help them out. So that's kind of a nice bonus if you're getting into something a little bit complicated. It's nice to have the extra hands there. As you're planning activities, you don't have to do it weekly. I mean, you could just do one a month, start small, or maybe one a quarter. And as far as supplies go, I would probably start with something that can be used by a wide range of ages, so you get more bang for your buck, like Legos or building straws, construction paper, Sharpies, scissors, yarn, some of your basic supplies that work for a lot of different things that you can, many of them, reuse. Okay, and we've got some pictures to show you. So Carmen, next slide.
1 second. I just wanted to
sure.
add a little thing about, Diane does the book club. For me, even in my regular programming, I do book club with my regular tween programming, but not for homeschool because it is very complicated. I mean, it's, there is only so much introduction you can do about a book that the kids haven't read. So we go into other kind of games, like we just got a spelling bee and we'll do Mad Libs and other stuff. But yeah, it's a literary day for me too, the last one. Diane?
So these are some examples of past kid and tween arts and crafts. We did wooden picture frame painting or with Sharpies. Across the top, you've got a winter scene with tweens, and you can see it's construction paper in there. The bottom right are paper chain snowmen with paper rolls and buttons that we did in kids. And on the bottom left corner, we did some modeling clay. Next. STEM. We've got tweens doing simple machines with Legos. We've got kids playing with Legos. Down in the bottom left corner, we used copper tape and did some they had a choice of a robot or a snowman. And I will admit I'd never done the copper tape LED lights before. So I Googled how to do it and I printed out the steps. And then I sort of practiced and simplified it a bit, and so the parents had a copy of it so they could follow along and help the kids as they were doing it. We also did Ozobots, which we've used, I think, all different age groups, as well as the building straws. Oops, and Carmen's flipping around there. Our teens use a lot of the same type of activities, but their goal is more socialization. For Carmen and I, it's more enrichment. But the teens, it's more just to have fun talking and a chance to see their peers and just have chit chat. And then Melissa does a lot of crafts. They might have book discussions. Their book clubs, often they get the book ahead of time, and so they've already read at least some of it. So it's more adult-ish, whereas mine, it's more like an introduction to the book, and we read part together. So it's very simple. When I say book club, it's not like asking a lot of in-depth questions for 5 and 8-year-olds. We try and keep it fun. And that's really the whole point in our programs, is something fun. The Heritage House Museum on the right there is affiliated with the library. We actually are responsible for running it and overseeing it. And so that's why we have that as a field trip. You probably have other resources in your area that you could team up with to do the same thing. Small groups went inside, and outside we had like sidewalk chalk, we had popsicles because it was a nice day. So it's just kind of a fun thing. We did not take buses to get there. We did not drive them there. We just had everybody meet us there. And that kind of worked out well, as long as you publicize that ahead of time. It's like, okay, instead of meeting at the library, this is where we're all going to meet. And we kept the time, our regular date and time. All right, Carmen, I think you're up next.
Yes. For special events, we plan social events a lot. So throughout the year, we have several, I would say, kind of sort of once every season, and one welcome and one goodbye, so to speak. We have parties. This year, we are going to introduce the fall social. We are gonna have available all the leftover crafts that we have from other fall events, and some, putting together something for them. We'll have snacks. And when it comes to guest speakers, we try to find guest speakers that are our favorite, right? Free, and that they will come and entertain at least 2 of our age groups. Like, for example, Dr. Wernicke, he used to be in charge of, I forgot the name of the archaeological site now. That's the Gout, I believe. And it's north of Pflugerville, and he comes and he talks about different things, fossils, or he's a very savvy person, and he comes almost every year, free. Not to say that he's married to our boss, so he does it very happily. We had a reptile education. A friend of mine came and did it. We have invited master gardeners. We had a group of improv group that came and did a program for tweens and teens, only because improv really, we didn't think was going to work out with little kids, and it was true. It was a nice program. Then this year, we'll probably introduce a supplies and resources swap. When I presented the idea to the parents, they asked me, are you going to allow curriculum exchange? And I said, if it falls within supplies or resources, you can. But I mean, it's up to you, right? Our welcome back to school was very popular, and we were very surprised to see the amount of people that came. You can see it on the picture on the left. We had about 100 people all together show up, which is, I would say, kind of our regular big group. Some come 1 week, some come another week, but it's kind of our regular group. That is what we get in a good day when Diane goes nuts because her group is the biggest one. We get a that big of a number. And we just had snacks and games. We did also a scavenger hunt, and that was super fun. We had some swag put together and did giveaways with that. Just the speakers on the left, you have our reptile education. Dr. Warnicki is in the middle talking about Native Americans, and we have our master gardeners on the right. Community groups, local experts, other city departments also can come and talk to you. We had an arborist from the city come and talk to kids about plants one time. We have even though the fire department is not our department or a city department, they come to regularly. And PD, kids love talking to PD. And if they bring their vehicles, either a fire truck or a police car, they love seeing those up close. And those are free programs that you can do.
Yeah. I want to add in, last year we had our assistant director presented programs on birding because he's a big time bird watcher. So your coworkers can present programs on different interests or hobbies that they have too. And it kind of gives them a chance to show off and share, but it's also free.
Yes, we've done pretty good having people from other departments and even ours. One of our adult librarians presents, cataloging librarian is the one who runs the 3D printing at the library, and he did a presentation for my twins that was like, wow, very thorough, and he had samples, and the kids painted boats that he printed for them in advance. We have our end of a school party, end of the year party again, games, snacks, giveaways, to say those kind of rotate. Then I'm going to go a little into my homeschool resource fair. I really want to share about it because you having the big screen, and this is the slide that we had on our Facebook and also on our website. It tells you all the guest speakers that I had, and none of them costed anything. So it's just a lot of work because you do have to start planning ahead, getting on their schedule. Then I send an invitation saying, hey, would you like to participate? We're looking for resources that are either free or something like a co-op that charges for materials. We will allow them to come and do it because, of course, nobody wants to supply materials for 40 kids to do a craft. And if they charge a couple of dollars for that, we consider that is fair. But if that person is saying, I'm going to charge $300 for the semester of crafts, because you see that too, we don't welcome those. We got a lot of books free from Bookspring. I hope you all know about them. They are located in Austin, but I'm sure they'll ship books out to you. If you decide on going with this resource, make sure you start planning early, because you have to do several touch base with people multiple times. Like, they were probably like, I don't want another email from this woman, I better show up. Last year, I had sent out an invitation in January, confirmed at the end of February, saying, hey, just making sure your plans haven't changed. We're about to publish all of our guest speakers and organizations coming to our resource fair. So if you have changed your plans, please let me know. Nope, nobody had. Then I sent the last one saying, hey, this is what with instructions for the day off. And it was it needed a lot of help from staff. In all honesty, I would not have been able to do this without the rest of the staff. Like I said, our person who does 3D printing, he was there, he had a station and he had a 3D printer running. Our adult librarians, one of them had the seed library. We have a seed library, and she was sending out information about it. And the other one had the Fab Lab open. The Fab Lab is our maker space, and she had little tours available for it. Here are some pictures of what we took. Book Days also, I have to tell you, Book Days is a great resource. They have brought the mouse from, if you give a mouse a cookie, he's come to the library through Book Days. We also had, if you give the pancake, you give the pig from If You Give a Pig a Pancake. And when we were doing that, Laura Numeroff wrote us. It was so cool. We also had a booth where we had our brochure. It's a special brochure with resources only for homeschool families. And that's what I have there.
Yeah, we'll show you the brochure a little bit later in the presentation. So we mentioned that homeschool groups basically operate during the school year. You're like, well, what about the summer? Families are used to coming, at least our homeschool families are used to coming at, ours are 2 o'clock on Thursdays. It's like we turn those homeschool group programs into family events. So they're programs that are designed for families with kids ages 5 to 12. Anybody is welcome. It doesn't matter if you homeschool, private school, public school, whatever. And we kind of try and do a mixture of crafts, STEM things. Sometimes we try and get some performers in. So it's a variety. So we might have Lego days. We might have a specific craft, like a come and go. It might be leftovers from different programs during the year. Scavenger hunts. When we do them here at the library, the clues are all inside the library. So it gets them to go to different parts of our library and see what resources are there. And then we might give like a sticker if you finish it all. Or we might give a ticket and everybody that finishes puts their tickets in, and then we'll have a drawing for like 3 swag bags or something simple like that. You could also use donated books, or if you have like ARCs that you can't put in the library, but you can certainly give them away. Have the kids pick that. It doesn't have to be anything big. And the next slide has pictures of some of our recent events that we had this summer. We did a little mini cactus pillow sewing with felt and yarn. I think these were in kits, but you could easily create some of your own. I did little teddy bears with one group, and it was mostly felt and yarn, and then we painted on the face. We have Legos out. We did a drawing class. She's drawing a slice of watermelon there. We did have a special guest, and that required registration because we limited the numbers for cookie decorating. And down at the bottom middle, she's decorating a wooden egg. That was from a summer book club activity. We did one of the Far Out Fairy Tales. I think it was the Ugly Dinosaur. It was the takeoff on the Ugly Duckling, and it had dinosaurs in it. And so they decorated wooden eggs like dinosaur eggs. We had a science guy come. And again, that was registration. It was a large group event, but we wanted to make sure that we had enough space for everybody. So we did require registration, but it was all free. Next
free
slide.
Free for our patrons. We did have to pay for those. Yes.
Yeah, we did have to pay for the performers. So for our homeschoolers, the tools and materials that we use during our programs basically stay in the library unless they're consumable. But we do offer for everyone a lot of special items like maker kits or equipment. And we like to spotlight some of that for our homeschoolers and make sure that they are really aware of, oh, you liked the straw building activity. Well, we've got a straw building kit you can check out. Or you're doing science with your little ones. Hey, we've got a microscope, a simple one. You can check it out and use it for some of the science curriculum you have to do. Our Fab Lab, most of the tools and machines in there, you have to be trained on, and you have to be 12 or older, but it varies a little bit, but they are welcome to use them if they need a sewing machine for a project, etc. So we just sort of make them extra aware of it. All right, Carmen?
Yes, to add a little more on this, the Fab Lab contributes to, because like Diane mentioned, it requires training for 12 and up, but it comes out to the kids. Like we roll out a 3D printer, and we have our presentation about it. Stuff like the teddy bears that Diane was talking about is made with our laser cutter. We have Ozobots and other items that the Fab Lab has purchased, and because it's a different line item than our programming for the kids. I am a big advocate of the kids are also citizens, so they need their chunk of Fab Lab out here. So within our electronic resources, and I'm going to mention this because we spent quite some time during the first day of during our Welcome Back to Homeschool Day, talking about those to our families. We highlight the ones that are on the screen right now. Plus now we have added, it's called Craft and Hobby too. So we did not get rid of Creative Bug, but we added Craft and Hobby too. And we tell the parents, those have videos that you can use to teach a small class at your house or what have you. We highlight also especially the online tutoring, which is Brain Fuse Help Now. If you are familiar with it, I like to promote that a lot because sometimes parents are frustrated that they can get past the topic with their kids, or also because it's free. They get a free tutoring session or as many sessions as they need with no cost to them. I'm sure you are familiar with the rest of the resources that we highlighted there. Also, one of the things we have for our homeschool community is a homeschool resources brochure. We have there all the stuff that we consider are pertinent and important for those families to know. Usually, I love when it's during the morning and I see a family and instead of answering me, oh no, they were sick, so I brought them to the library. No, I love when they say, no, we're homeschoolers. And then I start talking to them about all the stuff that we have. So I wanted to talk about it because if you don't have one at your library, this is how we put ours together. And if you need, if you would like a copy of it, I can send you a PDF and you can look at what we did, but I highly recommend that you create one because even CERC staff they hand it out to our patrons as they open new cards or they check out books or, they help us out to promote the programs too. So we have other options. I went ahead and checked out our neighboring libraries. We do work together with them, so I don't feel bad about mentioning what they do because we collaborate a lot and we share the same families. You know how it is. Like Georgetown is about 20 miles from us and people travel around, but other options for homeschooling programming, we do once a week and we separate the kids in 3 groups. We understand that your library or your director or whatever the reasons are why you can't do that. You cannot have 3 staff members dedicated to work with this community at once. You can do multiple things like Georgetown Library. They put once a month program, a once a month event for homeschool families, and they're all together. All ages are together. Cedar Park does once a month for kids and tweens. And then they separate the teens and they do a separate event for homeschool teens. And Round Rock staff is not even, so to speak, involved in the planning or any of that because they partner with homeschool groups, which pretty much means that they don't charge them for having the room for a couple of hours. And then they just do the program there and it with the condition that it's open to everybody who wants to attend. So they cannot charge for it. And it's working out for them. So there is multiple things. I don't know if everybody who is attending, I saw that some people are and some people are not doing homeschool programming, but there is multiple options. And then there is the passive stuff that you can have, which is like having the brochure and to give out information and stuff like that, or a scavenger hunt that you can do and during the morning just for homeschoolers or what have you. We have a few more suggestions for you, Diane.
Well, I was going to say, to tag off of what you said, Carmen, about passive programming. I forget which library system it was that I was talking to this spring, but they just set up once a month, they set up stations for the homeschoolers to go around. So if you're limited in staff, you could definitely do that. Just set up a couple different stations and you'll have parents there to help the younger ones and have like maybe an arts and crafts station, maybe a STEM, something like that. That's kind of cheap and easy. Let me see. So again, reminder for presenters or special guests, as we call them, ask your volunteers at your library if they've got something they like to share. Like maybe some of them knit. Maybe they'd be willing to come in and just share their projects that they've done, talk about it a little bit, or maybe teach the kids a little bit how to do it. Staff members, your other city or county departments, think about if you have any museums, parks, rec centers, different organizations in your area that you might be able to partner with. Important, though, to be consistent on date and time. Whatever programming you're setting up, whether it's once a quarter or once a month, try and pick the same date and time so that people can kind of get used to that schedule, because they might have to miss once in a while. But if you're consistent, it's easier to remember when they're planning something. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I can't do the first Monday of the month in the afternoon because that's always a special thing at the library. So they'll plan something else. And yes, keep your website or your social media updated. Website is really important because a lot of our parents do, and the teens and tweens will go online to check and see what's happening and see if they're interested in it. So you want to make sure that you've got that up to date for them. If you are, go ahead.
Yes, I included update your website because when I was researching a little bit to present to you, and even before a few months ago, I have asked our communications department, who is in charge of our website, to create a special corner. It's not a special corner, but it's just a page for our homeschoolers. We have one right now, but it's very, very, very basic. It gives very basic information. And as I went to the New York Public Library and see what they had, and big libraries, I like San Jose Public Library in California too, and the Colorado Springs Public Library too. I found out that there is different libraries have different things in their websites just for homeschoolers. Not call it your homeschool page or homeschooling page or however you want, but if it's possible for you to have that, I am sure they would appreciate it. They feel like we see them, because and I say that because I have heard that from multiple parents. We love, Miss Carmen, we love that you see us, that you care about us. It's not all about everybody. It's part of being inclusive and all that stuff that we are trying to be right now. And for example, I don't want to call it wrong, but like Wells Branch Library has a collection of books that are geared towards teaching stuff at home, and it's like a running menu from their catalog that just runs there, and they have that. Other libraries, I think Round Rock and Wells Branch also, they have links to link with special ed department and counselors in their school districts. And I thought, this is brilliant. And there's more examples I could give you, but I have mentioned the libraries that appear in our previous slide. If you want to research and look at what they have and look at what we have, if you don't have an updated website dedicated to, a page in your website dedicated to homeschooling, I highly recommend that. We will be updating ours. It's a project that I have with our webmaster, but it's one of those that you're gonna do when you have time for it, and it hasn't happened, but it will happen. It's my goal to get that done.
That will also make it easier for families that are looking for homeschool information or programs to find them, is if you've got something tagged homeschool. Because I know, like, when we were researching this and going out to some of the libraries, trying to find if they had anything for homeschoolers, some of them it was hard to find because it wasn't set aside in a special place or labeled as such. So, make it searchable, make it findable, because homeschool parents will travel a little bit, even if they don't live right in your neighborhood. They might live 1 or 2 towns over. They're willing to drive and come to programs for their kids, but they have to know about them. So that's something. As you're
One last
building.
thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I remember I have that little truck there because that's something that you can collaborate with your utility department or your public works department. We've had in the past, and we do it at the Heritage House. So you are killing 2 birds with one rock. So we have the utility departments bring, all kinds of trucks, and the kids love getting in those. In those guys, if you have a big jug of lemonade and what have you, little snacks for them, they'll love coming out for a couple of hours and just talking to the community. Diane?
I was going to say, if you're starting, I don't want to say from scratch, but pretty much from scratch, you don't have to do all of it once. As I mentioned, like, build up your STEM or maker materials. Start with ones that have wide appeal. Legos, building straws, brainy flakes, the wooden blocks, origami paper, Ozobots. Yeah, that can be used over and over by a wide age range and sort of build up your collection that way. Craft materials, Carmen mentioned, when we were first starting the homeschool program, there wasn't really a budget for it. And so they had leftovers from other programs, and that's okay. Everybody doesn't have to do the same thing. You can just, offer a couple options, or, as I said, take those materials and do something else with them. But Sharpies, glue, construction paper, some of your basics are good investments, and then you can get fancier with beads or Google eyes instead of paper eyes or whatever. And there's a ton of free craft activities online that you can find for all different age groups, and just borrow those, modify them, whatever.
Yeah, I want to elaborate on that. I remember when we first started doing this, I would say when I first started doing this, in our now my boss, Melissa, now the teen librarian, back then she was the tween librarian, and we were starting and we had no money, and the person, our head librarian from the department, would say, how much is that going to cost? That was a question every time that we did something for homeschooling families. And he was like, you can only find free speakers for homeschool. We pay for speakers and performers for story time and other events. So these people have to be free. And I go like, over the years, it took, we've been doing this for 10 years. We started first excuse, because we were a small place and we only had one conference room and it was booked. We have no room for that. Then we had the big meeting, and that's when I went in again and I said, now we can schedule this right. So I was allowed to do it, but I had to figure out the free stuff for them. Now they had gained their position in the line item in our budget. So we also invest in them. Mm-hmm. But with that, we open the floor. This is Diane's email and my email. You feel free to contact us. We have, if we talked about scavenger hunts, we have the brochure. I don't remember what other item, but anything you need from us, we are very happy to help. And we would like to ask if you guys have any questions or comments or want to contribute to this presentation. We open the floor now for you guys to do that. I can't see if there is any hands up.
So far it looks. Oh,
Pamela.
Yeah, go ahead. You should be able to unmute yourself. Hopefully. Let's see. Pamela, do you think you can? Oh, okay. Let's see. Maybe not. If you only had one staff available, how would you go about scheduling?
Do something that is for all ages and try to do, like, that's what other people do, like one big program for them. Have stuff that is appealing for everybody. You can have like a board game day. You can have I don't know, crafts and set little, it's a lot of work for one person, but set different stations where you can, you know, have something for every age. But homeschoolers are really good about helping each other. I think that it comes with the nature of being a homeschooler. They do very well with the younger kids do very well with older kids, and older kids do very well with little kids. So, but we do have, I would say that, have stuff that would be appealing for everybody. Games, do it once a month, but do it like the second Wednesday or the third Thursday or stuff like that. So it becomes like yes, not only for them, but also for your staff, so that they remember that and they can tell homeschoolers, this is when we do it. But that's how I would do it. Want to add something, Diane?
No, I was going to say the same thing. Pick something that works for all ages. You know, paint a winter scene. Have just a couple of colors of paint out, some dark blue paper or something like that, or Legos, magnetic blocks, something. I mean, it really has wide appeal. And Carmen was right. They're very used to helping each other, which is awesome to see.
I want to add, feel free to go to our calendar, and you can go years back and see what we have done for them and what would work for you as one for one age. But like inviting the PD to come and talk about being safe, invite the fire department to come. Those are things that they you can do too, to have all kids together. I hope that helped. Anybody else?
Would you mind if I put y'all's website in the chat?
No, go ahead. I mean,
Right,
we should have
yeah.
we should have had it somewhere. Oh.
Okay, please. I think this is the right one. It looks nice.
Oh, there you go. That's very specific. Yes.
It also is nice. Again, like you said, it was easy to find because I looked at Pflugerville Homeschool Library, and there we go. Showed up.
It's gonna be better. It's gonna be better soon.
Oh,
Deborah, you
Deborah.
have a question?
Not a question, but I have a resource. I don't know if y'all already use. Have you heard of Neighborhood Forest?
No.
Oh my goodness. I've created like an entire Earth Day celebration. My community is only about 4,200 people, but I had 183 people at this event. Neighborhood Forest is an organization. You can look them up. They provide free trees to any children that are registered, and they are looking for more libraries. Their goal is to reach every state, every community. But instead of just doing the free trees, I created an entire event. We have the National Forestry Service. They had Smokey Bear. We had Sparky the Fire Dog, our fire department. Boy Scouts came. We had green snow cones for Earth Day, frozen pickle shots. It's just a huge event. And these kids get free trees, and Neighborhood Forest encourages them to take a picture when they plant the tree, and then take a picture every year and share it so you can see the child grow as the tree grows. It's a fantastic program.
Oh, that's so
I
cute.
love it. We're gonna look it up. And we had our master gardeners did something like that, and they did bring trees for the kids. But we can't use all of our resources all the time, right? So this is another one. Thank you.
Neighborhood Forest, the registration process has just started for the next cycle. So if y'all are interested in that, you need to jump on that.
Thank you.
Carmen, there was a question in the chat about books used for teens and tweens. Does it show on the website what books they were?
Yes.
Okay. I know the kids are on there.
Yeah. We don't, how can I say this? I really haven't been doing any books with homeschool, but if you go back in our calendar, tweens need, it's very hard. It's been very hard to find a consistent name for tweens, and I ended up calling it Tween Time because we had like a book club, we had Tween Scene, we had Techie Tweens, we had all kinds of names for the one event that was on Wednesday before I took over, and I went for Tween Time. Yes, they are listed. Wednesdays, 4:30, if you go to our calendar, which I can also add the link or maybe Sarah can do it for me.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't want to mess up my page, my presentation. Yes,
that's the one.
The calendar. It's the same, and you can go to the calendar there. Oh, Tween Calendar. There you go. That's it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it looks like Pamela just shared a neat idea about Nautilus Live. I'm going to have to look at that for this upcoming summer, because I'm kind of thinking of maybe doing like an ocean theme with some of the programs.
Ocean.
Oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, if you are going to do books or book club or whatever with the kids, Carmen mentioned book days, book spring. First Book is a good place for cheap books. And then there's something called Books for School, I think was the other one. Just be careful. You want to make sure you choose something that the kids are going to be interested in or enjoy.
Yes, I had that bad experience, and I'm going to mention it so that you don't make the same mistake. Like, First Book will sell a carton of books, which has like I don't know if you know, or if I am being repetitive, but we'll have probably 20 or 30 books of the same title. And I was like, yes, 50 cents a book. And then I get stuff that has controversial, stuff that is controversial that I really, I don't want to evade. I don't want to evade talking about that stuff with my kids, my own kids or my grandkids, but I don't know. Kids come to the library for the fun of it. So we should be reading stuff that makes them laugh, makes them happy, not think about rape and all that stuff, So it's, but yeah, so research the titles that are in cartons. Big recommendation. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you should.
Go ahead.
I can still hear you. You can.
Okay, I'm good. That's all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are there any other resources that you guys have or have used in the past that you think might be good to share?
Diane and me or the rest?
Everyone, anyone, all of you. I'll say another resource you can use is our new our training coming up next Friday, the open-ended resources, open educational resources. The best things in life are free. Got some UT librarians that are going to be presenting, so please join.
It will be recorded, right? Because I'm on vacation that day, so I don't want to start my vacation and watch them.
It'll be recorded.
Okay.
I may have missed it. Where are you getting book club books?
Oh, we mentioned first book. Also what we do, we are ordering some book club books from Ingram. It had to be done, so we buy them at a cheaper price. Ingram will do that for you. I mainly get them from Ingram, sometimes from Amazon. Like if I'm picking a title too late, then I have to run and buy it from Amazon. But if the key is planning ahead. If you plan ahead, you will have time to look around for the title you want to do or pick from the ones they have. But Diane just typed it there.
Yeah, and you can, I'm sure as librarians, you've got lots of different resources of finding different books, but don't forget, Texas Library Association has lots of reading lists for different age groups, and you don't have to pick books that are off the most recent list because that's probably going to be the most costly. But if you go back 2 or 3 years, they're still fairly current, and that can give you some ideas for books if you want to do a book club or book reading with kids or teens or tweens. There's all sorts of great reading lists there just to give you ideas.
And sometimes we also, like, say Bookspring makes a donation to us. We go through the boxes, and if you see that you have enough, like 10 copies, we guarantee 10 copies for the first 10 readers. That's what we say. Then we pull them from what they were going to be for, and we use them for that. Mm-hmm.
And I know some libraries will do interlibrary loan for book club books. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but you would definitely have to plan ahead, like Carmen said. But if you didn't have a budget even for cheap books, that might be a way to get started, is see if you can borrow some copies from other libraries. If it's like a short book, you could definitely read the whole thing together, and that way you can kind of keep an eye on the books since they belong to other libraries. If it's a longer book, I'm not sure how they would do it, like a novel for teens. If you're borrowing it from another library for a book club, you'd have to investigate how that would work, how the kids would get to keep a copy of it. But also, if you know ahead of time, then they could interlibrary loan it for themselves, and that way they'd have the copy to read ahead of time. So there's some possibilities there to get started. Or, check out garage sales and Goodwill too, if you're starting with a smaller group.
Yes. I have another suggestion. We also make sure, but again, we plan ahead. We make sure that the books are in Overdrive, in Hoopla. We make sure that the titles that we pick are there. So if a kid cannot buy it or something, then they do that. Mm-hmm. So we can use Overdrive or Leaving to direct the kids there. Or sometimes the Hoopla also has the titles. So just make sure that is available, because that's 2 more copies that you can have available. Well, with that, all we have to say is
Yeah,
thank
thank
you,
you.
everybody.
Um, please fill out my post survey. I need more of those filled out. And I appreciate those of you who filled out the pre-survey too. Thank you. Deborah says I have homeschooling moms asking for groups to be formed. So you've been actively exploring this. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah, great. Thank you so much, you two. We really appreciate all the information you got us. I think it's definitely going to be very helpful, especially for those communities trying to bring in those homeschooling patrons.
Yes. And reach out to us. We are very friendly.